You thought Squid Game was just a brutal competition? Think again. Season 3 of Squid Game has taken everything to a whole new level, not just in intensity, but in emotional depth and psychological complexity. This season didn't just break our hearts, it forced us to think deeply about human nature, morality, and what desperation can truly do to the mind. From betrayals to breakdowns, self-sacrifice to cold survival, every single moment in Season 3 is layered with hidden meanings. So make sure to stay with me till the very end, because once you understand the psychology behind Squid Game 3, you'll never see it the same way again. Since the very first season, Squid Game has shown us how far people are willing to go when money and survival are on the line. But in Season 3, we saw this desperation tested in ways we never imagined. One of the most important psychological theories hidden in the show is the Yerkes-Dodson law. This theory says that when pressure increases, performance can improve up to a point. But if pressure becomes too much, people shut down. That's exactly what we saw with many players in Season 3. Some showed extreme focus and skill under pressure, while others completely broke apart, making desperate and irrational choices. But there's another side to all of this money, or more accurately, the stress of not having it. Scientific studies show that financial stress lowers a person's ability to think clearly. It creates mental fatigue, making even simple decisions harder. That's why Squid Game is filled with highly intelligent people doing the unthinkable. They aren't stupid. They're desperate, tired, and mentally drained from constant survival. This season captured that perfectly, especially through emotionally intense scenes like Gumja's heartbreaking decision to end her own son's life to save a newborn baby. That moment wasn't just shocking, it was a direct look at what guilt, love, and trauma can do to someone. Gumja's choice to protect a helpless infant instead of her troubled son sparked a deep conversation among fans and psychologists alike. The guilt that followed eventually led her to take her own life, reminding us how emotional pain can weigh even heavier than physical threats. It's not just a story, it's a study in human psychology. Then came Junie. Her story brought a whole new dimension to Squid Game: motherhood. After giving birth during a game, she tries to protect her newborn at all costs. But with a broken ankle and a dangerous rope-jumping bridge ahead, she's left with no way out. Her goodbye to her baby before jumping to her death is one of the most devastating scenes in the entire series. And yet, it's also one of the most powerful, showing just how strong a mother's love can be, even in the face of certain death. But the cruelty didn't stop there. The game assigns the baby an official player number, turning her into a contestant. The idea of grown adults fighting to take out a newborn for money might seem unthinkable, but that's the point. It's an example of de-individuation, a psychological concept where people in a group lose their sense of morality. In Squid Game, being part of a crowd and knowing you might never be punished makes people do things they'd never do alone. It's terrifying, but it's also very real. One of the most emotional moments comes when Gi-hoon is given a knife and told he can win the game by killing the others. He almost does it, but the memory of Sabaoki from Season 1 stops him. He realizes that keeping his humanity is worth more than walking out with the prize. In a world that has turned everyone into animals, Gi-hoon chooses to stay human. That moment sets up the finale perfectly. A final game that isn't just about strength, but about who has something left to protect. In the last challenge, Gi-hoon, Manji, and the baby are the final three. Gi-hoon plans to sacrifice himself so the baby can survive, but Manji betrays him, planning to throw both of them off the bridge and take the prize alone. In a final battle, Gi-hoon fights back and saves the baby. But since the final round never officially began, one person still has to be eliminated. Gi-hoon makes the ultimate choice. He jumps himself, leaving the newborn as the winner. That ending, while tragic, leaves us with something rare in Squid Game: hope. It shows that even when everything is lost, even when people are broken and desperate, there are still those who will choose compassion over cruelty. Gui-hun's final act proves that humanity can survive, even in the darkest of places. So now, I want to hear from you. What moment hit you the hardest in Squid Game Season 3? Was it Junie's final goodbye, Gui-hun's sacrifice, or the baby's heartbreaking journey through the game? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if Squid Game has ever made you feel something deeper than just shock, because behind the games, behind the blood and fear, lies one powerful truth. The human mind is the real battlefield.